Hey, we're back with round 4 of Akira, and it's gonna be a long one from here on out, so let's just not waste any more time and let us just begin this.
You're gonna suck my dick.
We start the volume with possibly a time skip and us seeing how the city has gone to ruins. A military helicopter is about to land, but gets surrounded by people. Turns out a new faction called the Great Tokyo Empire, and the lieutenant of the empire is with them, stealing this helicopter. We then see a bit of the empire before we cut to a bunch of people praying for the empire's figurehead, Akira, and Tetsuo being with them, being the prime minister and all. So it turns out the two started a whole empire together. We then cut to a gang surrounding a masked person. They are about to attack this masked person, but their ally shows up and destroys the gang. However, the ally has a familiar face. Turns out the two we're seeing right now are Kei and Auntie, who I'll be calling Chiyoko from now on. We see some guys entering a bar asking for a beer and also asking if the empire isn't a joke, and a familiar face is in the bar. The bartender tells the two about the great empire. Then we cut to Klano, who sees an explosion and the casualties of the explosion before one of the soldiers recognizes him, but he ignores him. The soldier asks if he can come with Klano, but it tells him it's too late before leaving. Back to Kei and Chiyoko. They make it to an abandoned mall where Masura and Kyoko are being held, and she gives them medicine to make sure that they don't go wild. Kyoko suddenly starts talking about number 19 before the bartender talks about Miyako, which gets the guy questioning. Turns out Lady Miyako has become some sort of a figurehead of the East, and Akira is a figurehead of the West part of Neo Tokyo. We then cut to Tetsuo, who learns that the three selected people have arrived. Tetsuo gives them drugs which most likely activate their psychic powers, and he shows them how to use their powers, and he tells them to try to use their psychic powers as well. The three of them are trying, but two of them end up dead and the third one barely lived with some serious injuries, in which Tetsuo tells them to feed him as much pills regularly and train him. Tetsuo walks back to his place where Akira is staring at the sky and Tetsuo is overfeeding himself with pills. Cutting back to Kei's group, she tells Chiyoko that the psychic users have fallen asleep. Kei notes that one of them said that they should go ask number 19, and both of them are stumped on who this number 19 is. Kei has an idea looking at a place in Miyako's territory, which makes Chiyoko skeptical, but Kei reassures her that it's the only option they got. Chiyoko unlocks the door to find Ryu drunk. This gets Kei mad, and she asks what happened to their friends, which confuses Ryu on what she means. Chiyoko goes to the place and grabs a gun. Then when she's about to ask Kei something, she sees Ryu kissing her. Chiyoko quickly grabs her off a drunk Ryu, and she tells him to cool off his head. Chiyoko drags Kei away from him before Kei says she loves Ryu, which gets Chiyoko to slap Kei and tell her not to waste time on pitying him. Before we see Ryu saying that all his friends are dead. Damn, something I just realized is how much Kaneda added to the group in terms of comedy. And without him, it just feels really sad. And it was the next day, the two who entered the bar are about to set off to see Akira before we hear gunshots and we see a capped guy running away. Turns out the capped guy is a spy in the Empire, and the lieutenant caught him before Tetsuo's assistant tells him to publicly execute the spy. So the lieutenant executes the spy in front of everyone using what I would assume is psychic powers. And after the spy is dead, the Empire cheers for Akira. The two guys were also watching, understanding their big secret power. Kei and Chiyoko makes it to the territory before they realize that number 19 is in the temple. They enter and start looking for number 19. We cut back to the two guys who are talking about what they saw before they see a one-eyed guy commentating on what they're doing. And when they try to run away, they're stopped by Tetsuo's assistant. And then the lieutenant, who also appears, gets ready to attack the two guys. And the two guys get ready to fight. They trade blows pretty good with each other before the lieutenant kills one of the guys, causing the other guy to hit him so hard that he gets glass on his face, and one kick after that kills the lieutenant. The commentating guy announced that the remaining guy has killed one of their brothers and must be caught, while Ryu is watching this go down. Meanwhile, Kei finds Lady Miyako, who is number 19, and Miyako says that she was expecting her. She monologues before giving Kei some medicine, which will help the two, and she tells Kei to bring the two to see her. They rush back to the hideout to give them the medicine. Meanwhile, the surviving guy is running and Ryu finds him, and they talk. They decide to temporarily team up since the guy wants to know about Akira, which Ryu knows about. They decide to go underground. The one-eyed guy tells Tetsuo's assistant about the guy's new ally and how they're not from the same place, which makes Tetsuo's assistant note that there exists one group beyond Akira's reach. Parade is happening for Akira, and Tetsuo gives the followers food infused with pills. One of the people, a little girl, is stalked by Tetsuo's assistant, who asks if she's a naturalized citizen, and she denies, saying that she was going to give her father the food. Tetsuo's assistant takes the food and dumps it on the ground before bringing the girl somewhere. Kei and Chiyoko are heading back before Chiyoko hears something. They're ready to attack, but nothing appears, so they keep going. Tetsuo's assistant welcomes Tetsuo back and tells him that he was only able to get 3 sex slaves because everyone else left. He enters to see the girls. They start laying on the bed, and he gives all girls the pills. Everyone eats and has hallucinations, everyone aside from the girl we saw earlier. Tetsuo asks why she didn't take the pill, and she replies that her father is sick, and she saved it for him. He asks what her name is, and she replies Kaori. He tells Kaori to wait while he checks on Akira. Akira and Tetsuo have an argument about the hallucination before Akira attacks Tetsuo, launching him back to his hideout. Tetsuo's men wonder what's going on before we see distressed Tetsuo wondering what something was. Before we cut back to Ryu and the guy who was talking about Akira and how he got both America and Russia afraid of him. They head out and Ryu tries to understand the guy's plan against Akira, but he doesn't want to reveal. They argue for a bit before they leave. We see Tetsuo's men removing the bodies of the 2 women who ate the pills before his assistant gets a report that 2 unidentified men with weapons have been spotted and they have some weird kids with them. Turns out it's Kei, Chiyoko, and the 2 psychic kids. Tetsuo's assistant tells the report guy to track them before he cut to Tetsuo and Kaori in the hideout. Tetsuo is still being freaked out while Kaori watches. Kei notices that the guy, the report guy from earlier, is still watching them. Chiyoko considers fighting, but Kei tells her it's too risky. They ultimately decide to try to get to Lady Miyako's place for safety. As they're walking in the complex, Kei wants to find Ryu, but Chiyoko assures her that he can survive on his own. Before the 2 get surrounded by 3 weird looking people, they learn that the 3 are after Masura and Kyoko, so Chiyoko and Kei are fighting the 3 weirdos, and are actually doing pretty well. Chiyoko notices that Akira's followers are taking Masura and Kyoko, so they fight Akira's followers. They're trying to stop them, but one of them, the report guy, has Chiyoko at gunpoint. But Chiyoko isn't fazed and notices that he stole her gun. He's about to shoot, but he forgot to turn the safety on, and she was able to take her gun back, killing the guy in the process. Kei gets surrounded by guys, and they take her to a dark room and are about to redo of healer her. But Chiyoko finds her in time and kills everyone in the room, but not before getting stabbed on the side of the abs. She tells Kei to get Masura to Lady Kyoko before putting the bandana on. She plans on getting Kyoko back. She refuses the idea because she can't let Chiyoko go alone because she will get killed. But Chiyoko says that they have no other options since they can't let Masura be alone. So this is the only option. I'm going to say this now. If Chiyoko dies, she will be going to the heaven of goats that I made back in my Promised Neverland jailbreak video. Chiyoko tells Kei to meet her at the temple before sprinting towards where they took Kyoko. At Akira's place, we see some of the followers waiting for him before he cut back to Ryu and the guy, looking at how popular the place is waiting for Akira. We then cut to Kaori feeding Akira and Tetsuo's assistant talking about Akira with an Empire member before Kaori tells the 2 that he's taken a nap. Kaori walks before getting called by Tetsuo, who says he has a plan and mentions that blind old bat before he tells her that he wants to see her, probably referring to Lady Miyako. Some of the Empire members are transferring Kyoko before a rocket gets launched at them. Turns out it's Chiyoko who destroys the group and manages to save Kyoko. The one-eyed guy, who can see everything, reports of Chiyoko's doing, and she hurries to get Kyoko and get away before getting surrounded by some of the Empire members from above. We then cut to Kaori giving Tetsuo a dose of medicine and comforting him before he leaves to see the old bat. We cut to Kei carrying Masura before being attacked by enemies and managed to destroy them without a problem. She finished killing all of them and she grabs Masura and leaves. More people come and start chasing Kei, but they stop when they see that the bishop looking people, which confuses Kei. They say Lady Miyako's been awaiting her, and Kei realizes that they're talking about number 19. Meanwhile, Tetsuo meets up with Lady Miyako and sees a mural behind her, and she asks if it's familiar to Tetsuo, and he is sweating bullets. She asks what he wants to know, and Tetsuo replies Akira. During this, Chiyoko is still being chased by the Empire and Tetsuo's assistant. Back to Miyako, she gives us a massive lore dump about the psychic powers, and we learn Akira's origin. After a long lore dump, Miyako tells Tetsuo to come over his weakness of his power and let it flow freely, but Tetsuo doesn't want to hear it and leaves. We get a short scene of Kaori and Akira before we return to Chiyoko still fighting the Empire. Chiyoko runs out of bullets and is forced to run away. Meanwhile, one of the people fighting has super strength and gives Chiyoko a difficult challenge. She fights some of the members of the Empire before the strong guy destroys a bit of the bridge, which makes Chiyoko and Kyoko fall down below, and this angers Tetsuo's assistant. Chiyoko looks around in a field of skeleton and wonders where she is. The Empire shines a light to find her, but they can't find her, and she managed to escape into the waters and manages to leave before meeting the colonel of all people. He wonders what she is doing with Kyoko, but they have no time and are forced to work together. We see Tetsuo on the roof of Miyako's place watching Kei getting Masura to her place, while a spy of the Empire is watching and runs a report of his findings. Colonel asks Chiyoko if she's alright before she faints of blood loss. Tetsuo arrives back to see Kaori and Akira sleeping in Akira's bed before he teleports to the throne while in pain. Tetsuo's men get a report from Seer, the one-eyed guy, that Masura is at Lady Miyako's temple, which shocks them. Kei manages to get Masura to Lady Miyako's place, but she asks where Kyoko is, and she tells her she's with Chiyoko, who promised to get her here. Chiyoko is barely conscious while he tells Colonel to bring Kyoko to number 19 and that Masura is at Miyako's place, which shocks Colonel. Colonel brings Kyoko to some abandoned ruins and meets one of the long-living robots. We cut to Kyoko at a place of a doctor who does some research. We then cut back to Kaori and Akira hanging out before we see Tetsuo in pain. Ryu makes some more small talk with the guy before we see Tetsuo's assistant go to see Tetsuo and gives him a report of their finding about finding where Masura is. But Tetsuo yells him to get lost while in pain. Tetsuo's assistant takes control of the Empire while Tetsuo is in pain and orders the men, and rather all the fighting men they can. We see Colonel trying to patch up Chiyoko and afterwards having an argument with the doctor. We cut to Miyako asking for Matsura's state, which is fine, and she asks where Kei is, who is currently taking a bath. When she is done, she stares out at the window into the city before Miyako comes and talks with Kei. We learn that she uses her psychic powers to see through Kei's eyes into the city, and notes how depressing it is. Also, I should note that Miyako is blind. Should have said that earlier, but yeah. They walk together for a while, talking about the future and how she and Kaneda will be a part of the future of Neo Tokyo, which shocks Kei. But Miyako notes that Kaneda is beyond the boundaries of the world before thinking for now, basically hinting at Kaneda might be alive. The Empire is getting ready to attack while Ryu and the guy is watching, and as the Empire is getting ready, we see Colonel enter the doctor's place asking what he's up to, before attacking the doctor and finding out that the doctor is trying to kill Kyoko. The doctor tries to justify his reasoning, but Colonel tells him that the trauma of her death would cause another massive explosion by Akira. Colonel then tells him to get back to work and gives him some packs of cigarettes, as he asked. Kaori and Akira are relaxing before Kaori finds Tetsuo's pills. And Tetsuo, sitting behind him, tells them that he threw them away, says that he doesn't need them anymore, while he looks in the sky. Ryu and the guy are heading to the lookout place for where they can see at Akira's place, and when they make it there, they see Tetsuo having a manic episode, so strong he vanishes and appears in the ocean, and creates a blast so strong all the psychic users feels it, and even Masura and Kyoko wakes up. Colonel is right next to Kyoko when she wakes up and hears her say to get to Miyako's place. During this, the Empire is getting ready to attack Miyako's place. Colonel and the doctor talk about getting the weapon ready before the Colonel has to move Kyoko to Miyako's place. A flood hits Ryu and the other guy, and we see Tetsuo telling them that he killed some people on the boat and how weak they are. Turns out that they were the guy's allies, and the guy gets so mad that he tries to shoot Tetsuo. But if Volume 1 has told us anything, bullets doesn't work on him. Tetsuo says that he probably came to try and kill Akira. Then he summons a lightning attack to attack the two, but it misses, and he laughs while vanishing. At the temple, the Empire enters demanding to see Miyako, but one of the monks tell them that she's busy with meditation, and they don't take that lightly, so they kill the monk and start looking for Kei and Masura. Miyako is mortified to learn that they're using violence and gets even more worried when she is informed that they're using guns. The Empire is killing everyone who's trying to stop them, and Kei sees the Empire coming, so she tries to leave, but one of the members spots her and reveals her location, but she knocks the member down. Colonel gets the weapon from the doctor and heads out to the temple to get Kyoko to Miyako. He uses the robot from earlier as a safe place to keep Kyoko hidden and rides the robot to the temple. The assistant of Tetsuo orders one of the members to kill the monk, but he hesitates for some reason. We then cut to Kei getting ready to attack the Empire before hearing a sound. It's the spirit of Kaneda, but as soon as he appeared, he vanished. Tetsuo's assistant makes it to Miyako's place and gets ready to attack her, but the guns won't work since the monks are using psychic powers to suppress the weapon, which causes them to explode on the members themselves. Some of the members from the Empire try to find out where Masura is and stumbles across a place filled with monks, and they start following them. Kei starts to run down the hall and sees the same monk we just saw, dead. She heads straight forward in the path and finds the members, and she kills them without any issues. She makes it to where Masura's room is, where two monks greet Kei and confirms that Masura is fine. She heads back to help Miyako. Miyako and her monks are still fighting the Empire while Kei is running back. One of the members from the Empire recognizes Kei as the girl who was with Kaneda at Harukiya, so he follows her. Kei disguised herself as one of the members and manages to capture Tetsuo's assistant since Miyako told her not to kill him. She brings him outside and uses him as a way for the Empire to leave, and thanks to that guy from earlier, they surrender. While Tetsuo is on top of the building, his assistant says that they will crush them while they leave. The guy asks if Kei recognizes him and asks if she's the girl with Kaneda at Harukiya, which gets her to recognize him. They both laugh and understanding one another are alive. They sit near rocks and catch up with each other before he asks what's up with Kaneda, and Kei confirms he's dead, which makes him upset. Then he asks her if her and Kaneda did it, but she shuts down the idea, saying that they were just friends. We learn that his name is Kai. They head back to the temple and help out. The Empire are planning to return in an hour and get prepared. Meanwhile, Colonel sees the temple from a distance and tells the robot to go forward. Kei talks to Miyako about leaving and she refuses the idea. Meanwhile, Kai has to wait outside the room. However, Kai runs into Miyako's place to warn Kei that the Empire is back. Colonel sees what's going on and notes that these are Tetsuo's men. Panic is happening and Kei and Kai help with getting the refugees to safety. Kei tells Miyako that if she won't leave, then she will take Matsura and go. But then Miyako asks Kei if she feels the build of tension and energy through her chase and that it might collapse. Kai and Kei plan to get Masura up the towers, safely away from the Empire. The Empire is causing so much damage while Colonel looks at what is happening, calling the Empire monsters. Two members of the Empire find Colonel. One of them is ready to attack, but the other one recognizes Colonel since it's his former boss and hesitates to attack Colonel. Meanwhile, Kei and Kai help the monks move Masura. They make it to the elevator, and as they talk about all the fuss being unnecessary, Masura wakes up and wonders where Kyoko is before feeling Tetsuo's powers, and the same does Kyoko, who cries for Masura. The former military guy still hesitates to shoot Colonel, which angers the other guy, but just before he can do anything, the robot opens up and Kyoko tells Colonel to hurry up to the tower and that Master is there. Colonel is confused and tries to understand, but the Empire member shoots him and gets the upper hand. But before he can kill Colonel, the former military member kills the Empire guy to save Colonel out of the respect he has for the Colonel. The assistant of Tetsuo gets warned about Colonel, and we see the military guy help Colonel, and he tells him about the surviving members of the military, and Colonel asks why he stayed, but he starts talking about himself. He gets shot by the Empire, which enrages the Colonel. K's group makes it to the top of the tower, but they are greeted with Tetsuo, who asks for more of the drugs. Miyako refuses, which enrages Tetsuo. Colonel is fighting the Empire while this is happening, and when Colonel shoots the weapon, he launches a massive nuke, which gets everyone's reaction. Even Akira reacts. He is not even close to the nuke. The nuke causes so much distress to the psychic people, and it explodes midair. The nuke also sucked a lot of buildings when it explodes, and it makes it rain back. And even Kaneda rains down. Wait, what? Tetsuo is also flying through space, and from what we see a bunch of flashbacks, assumably Akira's past, but Tetsuo is the one who sees this. Honestly, this is just getting confusing at this point. Anyways, Tetsuo makes it back to Akira's place where Akira is waiting for him, angered. Akira is so angered that he causes Tetsuo to bow down on him, which shocks Kaori. The volume ends with Kaneda asking if it's all over. Overall, oh my fucking god, this was so long to read and write. I had to take multiple breaks while recording this audio. Honestly, it was way too much. My voice just kept dying. Longer than volume 1 even. It was confusing at times and the ending was so weird. The only redeeming quality is that Kaneda's back now, and hopefully it'll have a lot more comedic elements. Also, what happened to Chiyoko? I was confused since I'm not sure if she's dead or just knocked out. Hopefully volume 5 will answer my questions. Anyways, next time we will look at volume 5. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys, well, next time. Bye bye.